What's up, guys? It's been a little bit since I did an upload, and that's mostly just because I've been sick. I'm still sick. But regardless, I actually wanted to talk about the kickoff tournament that LEC is introducing in the winter split of 2026. And the reason I want to talk about it is just how this is probably going to build a bridge between LEC teams and Riot, and that this is just generally just an awful idea. So, where does it start? Well, it starts with Los Ratones, Cajol's team. They're in the NLC, competing in the EMEA. They won it twice, and now they're trying to win it a third time. They have Boss, who has a ton of viewership, Reckless, and the rest, it's okay. Not like crazy, just okay. And then Cajol, of course, is massive. Not as massive as iPay or Camiletto. I mean, he's probably more than Camiletto, but he's definitely not as much as iPay. But they bring a lot. And, they're trying to, I assume, Riot, because their viewership has been bad, both in LEC and in LTA, LCS. They're trying to get more hype and get viewership to stick. Now, that idea, I get it. For one, it's just for Winter Split. It's not for all splits. And to be honest, if you're a Cajol fan watching LEC through Cajol, why would that change? I'm not really sure. Is the idea that we're now change this is becoming a situation where the fans are going to watch on the LEC page, not Cajol's page? Absolutely not. That's not happening. They're just going to watch through Cajol anyways. So unless he's streaming LEC, there's no difference really. Seriously, the trickle down viewership that could happen seems so minimal to me that it's not worth it. Two, Cajol is going to stream this tournament anyways. If his team was not competing in this tournament, I guarantee you, he probably would be streaming it anyways because he's in EU. This is just his thing. So there's not really a huge difference between whether his team competes in it and if he's the one actually streaming. And two, keep in mind, I guess the only thing you could really say, I mean, also, I guess one other thing to think about is that his players are not going to be able to stream it. I mean, none of them are going to be able to stream it. When is this happening? When the games are happening? I assume Cajol will be the coach that's up there, unless he's going to get to individually stream it as well, which just seems. I don't think they really have that many coaches. I think it's just him and Otoame. So for the players themselves, it's it's fine. But if you know Reckless, you would watch Reckless anyways. Same with the majority of the other players outside of their jungler. So I don't really see the difference in that for Los Ratones and for Cajol. And then we have the EMEA Masters Summer team coming in. Another team competing. And of course, naturally, they're not going to bring anything viewership-wise. And of course, when you go into roster creation in the off-season, most of the time, the team that wins EMEA, especially if it's not Los Ratones, is probably going to be a completely different team. Or they're just not going to, or it's going to be half the pieces will at least be gone. Because routinely we see LEC teams, especially the bottom teams, pick off those top players that win. And so if that's the case, you're going to let a team in that might be bad, because they could just be bad. They might be bad. Just because they won in the summer. I mean, there's a lot of changes that can happen. The patches are going to change the meta. Riot could do a massive preseason change if they wanted to, and like I said, they could just have a different roster. So all these different things would just kind of blow up in your face. So that idea is kind of weird. Now there's also another idea in that if you're thinking it from Los Ratones and EMEA standpoint, let's say Los Ratones did not keep all their players. So let's say they wanted to do something a little bit different. They really wanted to actually try to win and change up their players. And the same could be said for, let's say, this EMEA team, the Mixed Masters. They get the leverage to pull in better players for just winning's sake because they're going to be able to play in the kickoff tournament and face LEC teams. That seems kind of weird. Unless this was clearly noted and given, this info was given to the teams going into 2025, which I don't think it was, that's kind of shitty. Just, you have to imagine that if I was going into the 2025 season and I knew that if I won the summer split, not even the spring, not the winter, but I won the summer split, I would get to go compete in the kickoff tournament with my ERL team. I would change how I create it. Like maybe I would take a team that would suck in winter, grows a little bit in spring, and then like peaks at summer. Maybe I would do that. So the fact that that was not like implemented that way, like they just kind of sprung this around like randomly, it's kind of bullshit for a lot of ERL team. As an ERL team, I would be kind of pissed off. I'd be like, this is like literally the team that just so happens to have like a good squad is just gonna fucking win and get the spot. And like I could have done that. I could have pushed for more funding and like compete for this. So that sucks. And of course, if this becomes a standard thing, then naturally you would ask like, okay, well, if this is a standard, then you're probably not going to take as many risks on certain prospects because you want to get in. It's a good tournament to get into as an ERL team. A really, really good tournament. Of course, the chance of you winning is probably not that high, but still you would want to give it a really good shot. So there's that. That's on the ERL's team side and the Los Ratones team side. Now you need to get into how does the LEC teams feel, because one of the big issues you're going to have for the LEC teams is that you paid to compete, you know, like they're paying like millions of dollars to have these spots to compete in the LEC on top of their large overhead for players, staff, housing, travel, all that. So you're putting a lot of money into this league, and you're telling me that two teams who are putting fractions of what you put in can just join in and compete for an actual international spot, which again, I'd said there's only 3 spots, like, or 3 chances, right, overall to get to do these. And you're telling me that these two teams could possibly like ruin me? That sucks. That should not be a thing. If this was like a tournament that didn't have implications with first stand, if you were just doing a fun tournament like that, it wouldn't matter. No one would care. Not a big deal. But because it has first stand involved, this is why it's bad. This is why it's not good. And, you know, I would be pissed. I'd be really pissed. And the fact that you find out later on that the LEC teams were actually not notified that it's okay, that Cagel was told that all the teams agreed to it and they were okay with it. And so Cagel was like, I'm on board. But the teams weren't. None of the teams were actually on board with doing this. And so the LEC commissioner went over their heads to do that. Oh my God. That was probably the dumbest thing he could have done. Like, whoever's the LEC commissioner just committed a huge sin at making a divide between them and the org owners. Because now as an org owner, you know, for one, and now I know you're going to be sneaky. If you're going to be sneaky, I'm going to do some bold shit as well and see how you like it. Because at the end of the day, guess who's putting more money into this product than anyone else? It's the orgs. Like, Riot is not paying anywhere near the amount of money that an org is paying to be in this spot, by the way. Like, LEC has reduced the staff that operate on the production side. Like, it's not, I mean, they don't even really do that many like traveling tournaments or anything like that. So like they really cut their costs. And you're telling me that you're going to do this over their heads when they're the ones who are in control? By the way, to use an example, LCS teams quite literally paid, or not paid, LCS teams cut the academy players, like the teams that they were required to have, because it was costing around like $500,000 a year for each team. They cut all those costs and they forced Riot to do that. They're like, you guys are just not doing what we need to do. Like, we're not making enough money. We're spending too much over here. It's not really doing much for us. And even though it's good to have a farm team and like a second tier 2 like league, we're done with it. And Riot had to do it because Riot had no leverage over those LCS teams in terms of being able to show like, well, you're getting this much money from us and you're doing like, it just was not a thing. So going into that, the LEC teams didn't get the chance to do that. Now there's rumblings about Camiletto like on KC saying like, well, what's stopping me from taking my team to Korea and just having my tier 2 team just play in place of my tier 1? I mean, like, I don't give a shit about this. I mean, really, in retrospect, the winter split really does not matter. by the way. Like, it really does not matter. Like, first stand is a joke tournament. Like, it can be fun, don't get me wrong, but like, in terms of competitiveness, first stand is definitely just kind of a joke tournament. NSI and Worlds are like the big ones you need to win. First stand is just like a fun thing to do. And even though I say like you only get 3 international chances, and yes, people will care to a degree for first stand, if it means that you have to deal, if it means you showing that like you're not going to tolerate what Riot does by doing what you do there, I think it's good. Like, personally, I hope they do it. Like, you need to show like you can force Riot to do what you want to do and have like your leverage and not let them just like overtake into dumb ideas. And so that's where we're at, you know? LEC teams are pissed. Los Tritonius is caught in the middle. I mean, whoever wins the EMEA, like, it's not going to be a big deal. I mean, like, no one's really going to complain about it because, like, Riot just, like, kind of tossed, like, that team will be in it, and we don't even know who that is. But what Riot did for this whole thing, it was mind-blowing. I understand that teams and people, like, not teams, but people, fans want LEC to open up and remove franchising, but in order to do that, Riot would have to pay these teams out for what they paid to get in, and they're not going to do that. And so if they're not going to do that, you can't force stuff like this. You just can't. And at this point, unfortunately, you know, hopefully it doesn't impact LEC too much in terms of like how the orgs see like Riot, but I'm expecting it to be, I'm expecting something like this to never happen ever again. Or else teams are going to start taking, literally teams will probably consider like just dipping, probably. But that's just my short video, guys. I just wanted to talk about this like case, especially also since, you know, at this point, like for me at least, like since I'm on the outside of a lot of things now, I'm praying Riot does the right thing and how they like approach their scheduling and everything, and it just continues to just be awful, and I just don't get it. I honestly just do not understand how Riot is doing such a poor job all the time. Literally have probably one of the best esports products you could ever have with League, and they've completely trashed it. So yeah, I'm hoping it does better. And just to add one little thing, also I think that there should be a pre-tournament. If you're ever going to have like EMEA teams involved, they should have a tournament prior to this tournament, so then you're using rosters that are all new and they compete for a slot, and that would make more sense. But regardless, this is my short video. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.